Hello, I'm Ian Gascoigne, and I'm presenting a webinar entitled The Top 10 Commercial Litigation Cases of 2025, a Personal Selection. And of course, I do want to emphasize the personal selection because there's a whole variety of cases I could have chosen as the content of this webinar. The ones I've chosen really are ones which I think fit into the broad description of commercial litigation, which I'll mention in a minute. Although the one or two aren't exactly in that category. But more importantly, they are cases which I think you as practitioners would like to know about if you don't already, because they could be important in practice in your own area of work in the next few months. And that's really the selection process I've gone about. Not the most interesting legally, but the things which are useful in practice. Although, of course, sometimes the dividing line between those two interesting legally and useful in practice is very blurred. Before I start looking at the 10 cases, I want to broadly discuss what is commercial litigation, because this is a phrase used regularly without anyone really knowing what it means, apart from everyone thinking they do know what it means. So I'm using this term very broadly here in the sense of disputes between businesses, which are usually about money, and therefore are value-driven by both of the participants in that they don't want to spend more than they think they're likely to get out of the problem. And that means an onus for their lawyers, which you'll be well aware of if you practice in this area, of having to justify steps you're proposing to take or are taken against you on the cost-benefit front. Most of the cases today, probably about 7 of the 10, involve a contract. And that's not a surprise because commercial litigation disputes are often contractual in nature, in that there is usually a dispute about one of, or more of sometimes, the existence of the contract, the meaning of the contract, whether the contract's been properly performed or not, or in extreme cases, the termination of the contract and whether that's been correctly achieved. Some cases involve many of those aspects and therefore are quite complicated. But other cases involve some of those aspects, but also other issues from other areas of law. But really, commercial litigation is contractual litigation. Sometimes the law involved in these cases is complicated, sometimes it's straightforward, and sometimes there's a matter of procedures involved. I think about 2 or 3 of my cases are what I would call procedural rather than dealing with substantive law.